Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
You all are really quiet tonight. I called the full commission meeting of the Board of Stark County Commissioners to order on August 15th. And I believe we're a couple minutes late at 6:02 p.m. Thank you for your attendance. The first thing we will do is have our emergency egress plan brought to us by Mr. Kevin Kemp.
Thank you guys for attending that. So let everybody know if there is a fire tonight or happens to be a fire emergency, people exit out this end of the building and head to the back side of the parking lot. If there is any kind of medical emergency tonight, the AED is actually on the first floor at the bottom of the elevator. And if anybody needs to know, the restrooms are going to be down the hall to the left. Thank you, Ms. Holden.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, commissioners, if you will please sign in for the roll call.
I'd like to. Fine, my bad. His battery, I think he turned it around. I'm here. He's trying.
We're going to have to take a break before you figure this out.
There we went. Thank you, Jerry.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I think that's everybody. It's actually.
Thank you, sir. Stick at your guns.
All right, as we look at the agenda for this evening, does anybody need any changes made?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Motion to approve was by Isaiah Grindstaff, second by Austin James. Right? No, Travis Hill. All in favor of the agenda, please vote. Vote yes if you approve of the agenda.
Clear it all. Beg for mercy. Beg for mercy. So many's been.
Not hero.
Okay. So the agenda is approved. At this time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Prayer. Yes, thank you. Prayer by Willie Campbell, and I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Gracious Heavenly Father God, Lord, we give you thanks and honor for this day, Lord, another breath that you give us, Lord. Put our feet to the floor, Lord. Today we do thank you, Lord, for each and every one, Lord, that's gathered here tonight, Lord. God, we pray, God, that you have your anointing upon each one. Lord, we do pray, Lord, for brother in Christ. Still yet, Lord, Benny, Lord, we pray for his family, God, and also his son. Lord, we pray, God, that you strengthen him, Lord. And we do thank you for your love, mercy, and grace that you have upon each one of us, God. Lord, we do pray, Lord, for you people that's coming in, Lord. We pray, God, that you give them the wisdom and the knowledge, Lord. Strengthen them, Lord, and help them along the way. God, we do pray for all of our office holders and each one that plays a part within this county. God, that you touch each one, Lord. Lord, we thank you that we have the privilege, Lord, to come before your throne of grace boldly, Lord. And thank you for everything that you do for us and every prayer that you answer, all the miracles that you've worked in each one of our lives. We can never give you enough praise and honor. Lord, each one of us, Lord, have problems in our lives, Lord. But we know, Lord, that you're standing at the right hand of the throne. Lord, make an intercession for each one of us, God. Lord, tonight we ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Stephen, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, will our elected and appointed officials please rise and be recognized?
For all you new commissioners, that means you.
In looking over the minutes from last month's meeting, I'll take a motion for those to be approved.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Isaiah Grindstaff, and a second by Mark Clevens. Now let's enter discussion about those meetings. Any corrections? Yes, Travis Hill.
Number 8 on legislative update, I think it's supposed to be fiscally. Fiscally, instead of physically.
Where we voted to approve the money for the demolition. Did anybody notice that? I think that number might have showed up a lot lower than it really was. At the bottom, it's numbered page 773. That number is not just $8,000. Yeah, okay. So we can get that fixed. Anything else anybody saw? So Isaiah, you still want to make a motion to approve them as with these changes and corrections? Okay, and Mark Levin still second?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other discussion? All right, let's vote to approve the minutes. Okay, motion passes. And now, the clerk's office will read us those that seek approval for notaries and bonds.
Randy Lynn Trivett, Ryan R. Costello, Dale Edward Hardins, Helen Mathis, Karen Lane, Lamb Stewart, Laura M. Royston, David W. Bush, Amy Hickerson, Thomas R. Banks, and Elisa Ann Easley.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion to approve by Mark Clevin, second by Nancy Brown. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote on notaries and bonds. We enter into public comments. Each person wishing to speak comes forward to our podium and states your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes. If you go that long, there'll be a sound with 10 seconds remaining, and then another sound when your time is up. If you all will please adhere to that, we would appreciate it. So does anybody want to speak tonight? All right, we will move on. Thank you. We will now have a presentation from the Chamber of Commerce. I believe we have Joy, Luke, and Seth all with us tonight.
Really anticipating somebody wanted to do public comment. Not ready. Ever coming up with public comment. We wanted to come and show you some things we've been working on, but we know that he's leaving the commission. He's still on our board, but he's been a great friend to us over the last couple of years to always come faithfully to report what the doings and the business of the chamber is, and we appreciate it. Thanks for your service. You do not get to quit the board just yet. Your term is up for another year. But we also want to come and welcome Ginger Holdren. She's accepted the position as one of our newest board members at the chamber. She'll be serving for the 2-year term, unless I can wrangle you in for longer. So she'll be coming in each month and giving you an update. Of course, anytime you ever have any questions about what's going on at chamber, you're always welcome to call our office or email us or stop by, and we welcome that. And I'll let Luke give you an update on what's going on with tourism.
I just want to share with you all some of the things that have been going on and what we're into this year. Kind of looking back a little bit, it's unfortunate we're doing this in August because probably get our new economic impact information report from the state next month. But in 2020, which is the most recent data we have, we saw 37.76 million in direct visitor spending, which is an increase of 3% over 2019. And as you probably remember, 2020 was not a great year for tourism across the board. We were one of only 15 counties in the state to see positive growth in 2020. So we have done well in spite of the difficulties. And Carter County ranked 37th out of the 95 counties in visitor spending compared to 40th in 2019. Another report I've got from the state that tracks visitors to Carter County showed an 8.5% increase in visitors from 2019 to 2020, and then a 22% increase from 20 to 21. So we're seeing really great growth in tourism, and so far this year, it seems like we're continuing to see really good numbers and are happy about that. We've done a lot of advertising with those tourism dollars, including in publications such as USA Today's Hunt and Fish magazine, Blue Ridge Country, the Allegiant Air In-Flight magazine, Our State magazine that covers all of North Carolina, Angler magazine, Smoky Mountain Living, and Blue Ridge Country. So it's got some of those ads there on the screen for you to take a look at that we've run. We've also been running digital marketing campaigns, including a search engine marketing campaign that's reached about 70,000 people year to date, as well as a targeted social media campaign that reached over 877,000 people. In 2021, we saw about 45,000 visitors to our website. We're currently working on redesigning our website, and we'll hopefully in the near future be launching a new and updated website that Seth has put together for us. If you've got that, well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Let Seth show you a little bit of that. And then our visitor center saw people from 34 states as well as a few international visitors last year. We've done sponsorships for events such as the Carter County Omnium, which was very successful again this past June, the Music and Miles Half Marathon, the 4th of July fireworks downtown, the Roan Mountain Rhododendron Festival, the Covered Bridge Celebration, the Philodendron Festival in Roan Mountain, as well as the ice rink here in Covered Bridge Park. In June, we participated in a familiarization tour for the Northeast Tennessee region that the State Tourism Department put on, bringing some travel writers to learn about our area. Next month, we're partnering with Explore Bristol to host the Blue Ridge Parkway Association's quarterly meeting. And in October, we're going to have another familiarization tour visiting. This one's for the Welcome Center staff for all across the state, those state welcome centers, so they know how to better help people know what to find when they come visit us. We're continuing partnerships with the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association, as well as the State Tourism Department and their Retired Tennessee program. So now I'll let Seth kind of share with you what he's been working on with our new website that's going to be launching soon to help bring people here.
We have a completely different design we've been working on, something more modern and a lot easier to navigate for people. Just a second to load because it's not just. So we'll be able to switch out depending on the season, different attractions and things to focus on. And it's really just about highlighting the different assets we have, be it the natural community or history, different outdoor activities. There's lots of prompts to guide you through if you'd like to stay, places to see. We're also partnering with a product called CrowdRiff, where it will pull in the photos that are taken by visitors so we can highlight anyone that's tagging or visiting. Of course, we're highlighting our visitor guide, which is a publication that we provide and mail out quite often. And just as a quick example of the different methods we have. So if anyone's visiting, usually they're looking for somewhere to stay. That's something we get quite a few calls for. And so we want to make it really easy to kind of narrow down all of the different things we have to offer here. One of the other things I'll highlight, and then I'll let you go. Individual listings, we have so many different ones that we can highlight. These are just a couple. And really it shows off all they have to offer and all we can show off in the area. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight, Luke?
I don't think so. I think that's a good example there. Like I said, Seth did all the design on that website, and he's done a fantastic job. And that's us trying to be responsible with our money and do what we can in-house, and we've got a lot of talent in him, thankfully, able to do that. Another thing we've done recently is we created a new video promoting Carter County. It's up on YouTube now. We'll be sharing it out on our social media, and we're probably looking at doing some advertising through YouTube and some other forums as well. So I guess that's the last thing we've got here is we'll show you that video we created.
The sun seems a bit warmer here. Time seems to pass a touch slower here. Wonder and excitement, they thrive here. Sometimes people surprise themselves here. We have so much to share with you. Come experience and explore Carter County, Tennessee.
So yeah, I think that's all we've got for you today. But thank you for your continued support. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us at the chamber office.
No, we've worked really hard. Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Can I say something?
Sure.
PBS had a special on TV Saturday about Carter County.
Oh, good.
Watauga Lake, Rome Mountain, the bridge, how clean the lake was. It was beautiful.
Oh, great. I'll look into it. Sure. We've got this video, and then we already have a winter one that's been created, and then we're creating a fall one. You may have recognized that voiceover. It's Kelly Kitchens for Park and Recs. So we used, her husband actually is a cinematographer, so we used him. We used a lot of local folks to make that video, and it's something we're super proud of. That was what's going on with tourism. I wanted to give you a highlight of some things to come with Chamber before we go. We're in the process of developing 4 new programs for 2023. One is a program that's a focus on small business, because if y'all haven't noticed, God and everybody has moved here from everywhere, and they all have really great ideas to bring really cool business and really neat different things that they've got for commerce to our region. So we're trying to make it an opportunity for these folks to figure out how to navigate Carter County. If you're not from here, it can be a little difficult. So we're trying to figure out how to make it a one-stop shop for them to not only be able to access getting their 10-tap license, their state license, their city license, their county license, and access all the resources that they need to be successful to start a small business, but also be sustainable in that small business. Because that's our job with the chamber, is just absolutely support those businesses. And we want to see them thrive, not just in the city, but throughout the county. We've seen several businesses over the last quarter that have specifically come to Roan Mountain, Hampton, one in Stony Creek, and a lot up around the lake. So these are things that we've got to focus on too. Most of them are hospitality focused, so that's something that we'll be really looking towards with them. Another part of that avenue that we want to do is extend our Chamber Youth Ambassador Program. We have a program that we do each semester, the fall and then the spring, that we have students that are juniors and seniors from all 5 of our high schools. And they are so smart and so great. And we really want to teach them what it means to live, love, and play right here in Carter County, what jobs are available, what careers are available, what education is available. And then we realized that they already know how to get the job, but they don't know how to quit the job and go to a better job. And they don't know what to do once they get in a lease and how to get out of a lease. They don't know how to, what that next step is. So we want to start developing a program that will probably run in the summertime next year that's specifically geared for that 18 to 21-ish range for these kids, just to be able to have that one next step. Maybe it's transferring schools. Maybe it's, what do you do when you graduate from Northeast State? How do you get into a different avenue as far as maybe you change your mind in your career? I don't know how many of you have changed your mind in your career, but I've changed mine about 10 times. So we really want to have focus on that. And the last part is 2-part. We're going to partner with the United Way to really strengthen our nonprofits. We see a lot of replication and duplication with, folks have a lot of great ideas and they care about our community so much. But a lot of times they're already doing something that somebody else is doing. So we want to make sure that we're getting these folks together, finding the resources that they need to make them a stronger unit to be able to serve our community better. So we'll come back probably in January and talk to you about what's going on with those parts of the chamber. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, great. Ross, thank you so much. You've been the best. Ginger, welcome aboard. We'll see you guys soon. If you need anything, you know where we'll be.
Thank you. Good job on the videos. I thought that lady was you until she took her glasses off. Scott Tidwell, if you and anybody that's with you, Mark, Roddy, whoever, can come up and talk to us again about our communications project, we would appreciate it.
I believe everybody has the pricing summary handed out. On the pricing summary, break that out and we look at the infrastructure and uncasting site equipment. We're looking at $2.8 million. Just the site equipment to set the sites up. That's just the infrastructure, and that doesn't include any of the mobiles or any of that. And then when you look at the total down at the bottom here, we're looking at, with discounts and all, you're looking at $4.5 million. We knew it was going to be more than the original I believe it was $3.6 million. So we knew it was going to be an increase from there. But we've got the state of Tennessee is actually going to come in, and they have offered to spend $1 million and upgrade a lot of this system for us. So that's one of the reductions in cost is the $1 million. So Motorola has given us a $250,000 discount on the system. And I have also looked at other vendors for dividing this system out from just having Motorola install the infrastructure and then have other vendors come in with the mobile radios, the portable radios and all this. And what I found out was it was going to cost as much or more if we went with a separate vendor for the 2 systems. So the other vendors were coming in at about the same price radio-wise as Motorola was when I broke it out like that. It's good to go with a single vendor, I think, because we can just point the finger at one person if something goes wrong. So we can always go back on that. And if anybody had any questions about where we're at.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
I've good. You got $4.5 million is what we're looking at. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does that include the reductions from Motorola and the state? They said it should be like 250,000. Is that after that amount, 45? Is that after the reduction?
Yes.
That's after the deductions, yes.
Mark, can you go over what's included in the price?
Yes. In the price of this, we're looking at setting up a, I'm sorry, White Rock, federal Forest Service. And that's an ongoing project. Don't have anything signed yet, but we're working on it now. Set up a full site up there. We're going to be basically rebuilding their whole site for us up there. We're putting in a site in Avery, North Carolina, in Avery County over there. That full site will give us a lot of coverage on the east side of the county where we don't have coverage now. Stone Mountain site is going to be a smaller site. It's going to have some radio equipment there, but it's going to help fill in the northeast corner of the county where we have some trouble back up in the mountains in there. All these together will come in together and they will all work as a simulcast system. Motorola has offered to put in the simulcast system and not charge us for the simulcast update on the system, which is probably about a $1 million update. So they're basically throwing that in with the system. And the biggest reason for that is when you put in a system this large, you have to have a frequency for every single repeater you put in. Trying not to get in the weeds, but basically we'd have to have like 35 different frequencies. And trying to find that right now is almost impossible to do in this area. So if we go simulcast, we've only got to find 2. So that helps narrow it down and put everything up and on the air at the same time. Everybody will be able to use the system anywhere in the county. You key your radio, you talk on the radio at one part of the county, they'll hear you on the other side of the county. The whole system will come up all at once instead of just pick and choose. And also the whole system will be basically automated, so the users won't have to change channels to use these systems. They just automatically push the button and it works. Yes, sir.
How come this was not given to us in our package that was laid here tonight? Can you give us the reason why?
Well, we went over it late last week, to be honest. This was very late last week that we came in with these final numbers and put all this together. And I didn't have time to send it out to you.
Like everything else, you expect us to vote on something and it's laid on the table 5 minutes before.
In Mark's defense, Commissioner Blevins, the reason this project is in here tonight is this commission's turning over half after tonight. If something's not made on a decision with this project, then this is going to set this communication project back a year. And you're already looking at 12 to 14 months to get it installed. So you're looking at another 2 years.
Not only that, but you're.
Not even that. So that's one of the reasons financial management had tasked Mark with getting the bottom line numbers. And so we were doing in crunch time, and Scott's here also to discuss that. So it's going to be up to this commission to decide where to move with this. If not, the new commission's going to have to be brought up to speed on this project, which you're looking at another 6 months to a year for a learning curve on this. So that's the reason why it's been put in here tonight, for this commission to decide whether to move forward with it or let it be, and then task the new commission with what that decision will be.
Thank you, Byron.
Collins.
Well, I'd like to say that we specifically asked that this be emailed to us. I know I specifically asked that in the meeting so that I could look at it. So I'm going to have to agree with Mark on this.
It's unusual.
Commissioner Von Cannon.
I'm a little disappointed we didn't get this sooner.
You've had 30 more days. The last time I asked you if you had found some places you could cut, and you said you'd found $500,000. Have you found that 750,000 yet?
Well, what we did was we went in with the state of Tennessee, and with the discounts we're getting from Motorola, we've got over $1 million savings on the system.
How close is this project going to be funded without a tax increase? Does anybody have any idea? Is it $2 million, $3?
This is coming out of ARP.
ARP.
Well, it's coming out of the ARP. However, if that doesn't cover it, somewhere there's a shortage.
They have.
But again, I want to suggest as I leave, the same thing I've said for 12 years. If you need extra money, go to the Appalachian Regional Convention. And that's where you're going to find your money. The ARP, Appalachian Regional Commission.
Yes, Commissioner Bailey, sorry.
My understanding is, one reason we went with TACN is, and just to clear so they know there's no new commissioners in here, is the upgrade cost. If we decide to go with this, it don't put the burden on them next year because the state will maintain this.
Correct.
So that way, whatever we decide to do with this, it's in and running, and every 2 years, the state will upgrade it, and that way the burden's not coming to the new commission again. I mean, that's my understanding. They're going to upgrade this whole thing as it keeps going if we turn this over.
The full infrastructure at all the sites, they go through it every year and every time there's an update from Motorola, either on hardware or on software or anything like that, they actually go to the site and take care of that, and it's at no cost to us. That's probably over 5 years, that's probably about $500,000 savings over 5 years. Otherwise, we would have to put that burden ourselves.
Yes.
I want to go on record, I'm not against it. I wasn't trying to start that. I was going to make a discussion. I was just concerned with what was going on. We'll get that clear.
Yes, Commissioner Campbell.
Get this up and running. I know we had 7 dead sponsors in this county. Didn't receive radio for radio. Sheriff was saying that they had sponsored wrong now. Agreed. You get this up and running, we still gonna have these dead spots on the radios.
Well, all the predictions that we have, which we're not going to know until we get it up and running, we do a computer model on it. And we've seen a computer model from Motorola, and they're talking about better than 85% coverage in the whole county, which is not even near what we have today. Estimations today are probably 60% coverage.
Or we could still have dead spots together.
Yes. And we probably will. There's no radio system out there that will do 100% coverage.
That's what we was after to start with, but rid of these dead spots. Is constables on this too?
Yes. Constables are included. School and portable, yes.
Egress coverage. On the mobile coverage, we are at 98%. 98%, that's pretty good, especially with the terrain. On portable coverage, you're at 95%. That's the 95%, and that's the APCO standard. And you'll never get 100%. We don't have a county in the state that has 100% coverage.
Travis.
You accept the motion, Madam Chair? I make a motion, we accept this pricing and pay it out of ARP funds.
Second.
5:30.
Motion by Travis Hill, second by Gary Bailey. We are in discussion mode. Mr. Johnson.
Direct to our speaker. Has anybody ever thought about setting up two systems, the DMR and the 800 megahertz, and run a test on them throughout our county to see which one of the two is the better of the system? Now, we have 800, we have DMR here in the city. Our cruisers all were bought new with new radio system in it that can be converted to DMR. Correct. So it's possible. So we're buying a pig in a poke right now. To prove it, we had bids that came in when it was competitive at 3.7 million
And then the second company come in, pick me, let me get a trial, because we can be a whole lot cheaper. You've already confessed that we have saved $750, $1 million. But here the price is 4.5 million, which is $1 million more than what the initial was.
The initial bid, the actual bid that did come in from CI did not include any additional radio sites. You would still have the coverage problems you have today.
But the additional radio site, the main one is the one on White Rock.
There's actually 3 additional radio sites that we're putting in with this system. You're going to have 5 radio sites right now when this system goes in to cover the county. Whereas right now, as far as I know, we only have about 2.5.
So we give up a company though that was given a written guarantee that we would meet the mark of 85% at 3.5. Okay, and then when the list and the documentation that they send out, giving us a breakdown on the classification as to the different departments, how many handheld, how many mobile units, so forth. You look on the very first page, the fire, that's almost double. Why?
We went through the fire department and we asked all the fire departments exactly what they could use as a bare minimum of each fire department for portable radios. These numbers are actually down over 70 on the portables.
There's one.
They are down from where we had the last round when we were in here. We were up over 190 radios for just portables. So we've actually shaved those off quite a bit, and we're going to substitute those with pagers. The pagers are not on this quote. The pagers are going to have to be additional to this. They're $48,000 for the.
Above the $4 million mark, it's gonna be above that?
Yes, sir. The pagers will be.
If that's gonna be additional above what you're giving us here, how do we know what the bottom budget number is gonna be?
This number plus $48,000.
So it just, I'll take it so much, like buying a pig in the poke. You would not go out and buy a vehicle unless you test drove it to make sure it met your capabilities, what you expect, what you had your investment mean, and what we have.
You can't install a $3 million radio system for nothing.
Somebody said it
doesn't work
system.
without.
But we need a decision from all electronic specialists in here, which is the best of the two. There is a debate on whether it's DMR, or whether it's 800 megahertz.
I'm not in a debate with anybody about that. I believe the 800 megahertz system with TACN is the best system.
Prove it. Here's $4.5 million resting on it.
Well, I challenge you to prove that the DMR system is better.
And I'm Barney 5. If I push on the button and say 10-4, that's my expertise in the electronics.
Madam Chair, this is ridiculous. We sit here and none of us out here know what the hell we're talking about. Except maybe Isaiah and some of the people in the crowd out here. It don't matter if they give us this a month ago. We don't know. We trust the man that we hired to give us the best information that we know, and we trust in him.
Here, here.
Commissioner Grindstaff.
I do have one question. So when we had tested TACN once before in the jail, we ran into an issue of once you got 20 feet into the jail, there's no TACN. How are they going to be able to speak if you're just looking at these primary sites? Your all's Holston site is a better site location than ours. I'm still worried about that penetration. What are our options? I mean, that's going to be day one. They're the easiest out of the whole group, right? You know, get them radios, turn it on, and they work or they don't work.
You're 1,000% correct. In building coverage is tough on how the building's built, if it's living glass, if it's one of those environmental friendly buildings. You don't know till it's up, to be honest with you. So there's two options with our system. Number one is we do offer a Wi-Fi feature in the radio where it does smart connect and it can back haul Wi-Fi in the jail or wherever, school, whatever. So that's the pretty low cost. Or you do what's called a BDA, bi-directional amplifier. You put that inside the building itself, and then that gives you extended coverage. I have several. Monroe County, great example. They built this massive, you've been out there, this massive system. They actually put in, as part of their project, they wanted the BDA put in that thing, it was brand new. We put one in there. And schools, a lot of times you put, hospitals are bad, but what our system can do is it'll back off Wi-Fi, so you're not adding any additional hardware. So you can do that. Those are the two best ways to do it.
Right, but see, my concern with that is, and I have nothing against the Wi-Fi, but in hospitals and schools, it's gonna be a lifesaver. On top of being able to get this out. But just for instance, our internet was down for a month, or for a week. We didn't have any internet.
Bidirectional amplifiers are the best.
So what's the cost?
I mean, it just depends on the size of the building, how many layers it is. If you give me blueprints, I mean, we can get you a cost quickly, or you can go, we sell them, but other companies sell them too. So it just depends. I've seen them as low as $15,000, and I've seen as how we did almost $150,000. Children's Hospital in Knoxville, but it was 6 stories high, these low environmentally friendly glass, all that stuff. So it just depends on the size of the building and the layers.
5-story detention center. So I mean, it's.
Is it underground? Yeah, you're gonna have some issues with DMR, 800, whatever. Building penetration is the biggest.
DMR. Okay, that's something that you probably are gonna have to look into price-wise, that and the sheriff's office, because I can tell you, even with what we have right now, there's no penetration into the downstairs of the sheriff's office whatsoever. I can't sit in my office and hit a radio, hit a tower, or understand what's going on. We have it on our cell phones now where we can listen, still can't communicate as far as speaking out. So that's definitely some concerns that I have. Let me be honest, it's concerns I've had from the beginning. The only reason it's not a concern with DMR, or hadn't been a concern with the radios, City of Elizabeth and DMR, right? Hasn't been concerns because I've seen it and I know what it'll do. With this, the only thing that we have had to go by is, you catch a state trooper out or somebody, or get a sample radio and test. Once you, like you said, that's not hitting their better tower site off of Holston or their tower site off of Buffalo. That doesn't hit, White Rock has nothing out that way, just on the main road. So I mean, there's a lot of concern right there, and a lot of our officers have that concern of being able to penetrate. We know you can talk on roads. We know we can talk from vehicles. We're really concerned about that building piece. And, I hate either direction, because you move forward one direction and you run into the same issues. You move forward the other direction, you run into the same issues. I don't know. I'm concerned about talking inside of the schools because Wi-Fi is good. But, primary means of communication, something happens, the internet's cut, it happens before. Some of these school locations, you have nothing. You're not going to be able to get into these. They're solid concrete made out of steel buildings, and you can't, nothing you have penetrates them. So I think that no matter what, you're going to have additional costs. You're going to have additional costs on here. You've already added $48,000, which I have no issues with as far as the fire departments go. We're talking about bidirectional amplifiers now, stuff that's going to happen to the school, probably end up happening to some of the school locations, not all of them, the school locations. And I think we would have some additional associated costs with the prior proposal. But it is things that have to be brought up. I'm trying to give you both sides give the full commission both sides of everything, that there would be these same concerns looking at what was CI's proposal. I'm trying to do the due diligence there, so I don't make it just sound like Motorola. This Tassin proposal is just so far out. And I hope that you all appreciate that. But I do. I have some concerns with this.
So is there a way to avoid these problems? Or is it just going to cost more money to do what needs to be done? Is that what you're saying?
I think that even with the CI proposal that we were looking at, we would have ended up costing more money originally, because you did have an Avery County site in the CI proposal. That was the addition of another site, plus rebuilding or building some out on White Rock. White Rock is not optimal, but we've been limited in communications with the Forestry Service and things, and that road I know you've now been on, and it's not wonderful in and of itself. In fact, it's downright scary, just to be honest with you. But, I just think that whatever we as a commission do, we're gonna have to make a decision. We're gonna have to go with it. Whether that is Tassin, whether that's whatever. Tassin is what we have right now. It's what we have the pricing for. I can tell you that, you know, you talk to Sullivan County EMA, Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, Sullivan County Rescue Squad, they all say go with it. Go with Tassin. It's the best thing you can ever do. You'll be able to talk to us, be able to talk anywhere we need to. You can talk on any of our repeaters. You drive into Virginia and you can still talk to us. Greenville PD, their, I guess now ex-chief, told me the same thing. Go with Tassin. You can't go wrong with going with Tassin. With the statewide system, you've got the support of the entire state. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know what, looking at this, I know that there are some concerns, but they're really not any different concerns than what we have anyway. So I just think that either way, I think it's going to cost us more money than what we set down in budget.
So no matter-
Simply because you could, and nothing against, because you all have seen the models and everything else. You could sit down and you could build all these sites and you could still have issues talking in buildings. But with the DMR system, you can have the same issue. You know, the only thing about the DMR system that the city of Elizabethton has now, and that was in our initial RFP, was we were used to the technology. We had demoed that out and we were able to see it. So we knew what the limitations were to that system, given a single repeater site too. I personally didn't get to demo the Tassin this go around, got to demo it, I don't know, one of the 4 times that it passed. I don't know. I really just don't know. I can tell you that we pay, you know, and I've said this before Carolyn, with the finance director, I've said it with the county attorney, I've said it with several other people. We hired him, we pay him the money, and this is his recommendation. You know, same thing if Carolyn brings us her recommendation. We pay her, we hired her, we selected her, and we have to take their recommendation and look at, hope that they know what they're talking about. I'm going to trust Mark on this, that he knows what he's talking about. He's got way more radio experience than I do. I wish I had more. I trust him. If he thinks, looking at all the systems, that this is the best go, even given the concerns that I've voiced and some concerns that's probably been brought to him before now, then I have no choice but to go with him because I have seen nothing else to the contrary.
Anyone else want the floor? Dr. Acuff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to remind the commission that when Health and Welfare did their prioritization for ARP funding, we only allowed 3.7 million for the communication system. That means with the difference, everybody can do the math, we're looking at an $800,000 increase. That means somebody else on this list is going to fall off. I want to make sure that other infrastructure in the county like broadband, fiber-based broadband, and utilities don't suffer by adding this 800,000. So I don't know if Chairman Johnson will bring financial management's list to the floor tonight, but obviously we're going to have to make some tough decisions to come up with that 800,000.
Commissioner James?
Ms. Watson, do you know what the unappropriated balance of the ARP money is?
We're going to come up with.
Remaining balance from the fund. So we currently, as of right now, have $6,255,949 that is not earmarked, essentially, correct?
That's correct.
And that is after we earmark, we paid for the building, done the live streaming, the Dry Hollow project, the Hampton Volunteer Fire Department, First Tennessee Development, broadband, Stony Creek, Danner Bridge, Blevins Hollow, T-Deck additional match, and the T-Deck additional reserve for water projects. And so that still leaves unencumbered balance 6.2, correct? That's what I want to make sure. So
Also keep in mind, we had $300,000 that was earmarked out of the reserve account. So that's not been taken into consideration in this discussion. but that was done several months ago. That money was earmarked out of the $900,000 reserve balance that was for the board deal. So that's an additional $300,000 that's not been discussed tonight, but that money is earmarked.
But it can be reappropriated to something else, correct?
It can be, yeah, but that's what it was earmarked for.
Commissioner Tester.
Ms. Carolyn, I believe that 300,000 is on this new list and has been already taken out of that.
No, she's talking about,
The 300,000 is TDEC. Because there was discussion about an additional reserve for TDEC because some of the water projects may not have enough money to finish. But that's not something that has been.
It says funds encumbered, TDEC, additional reserve for water projects, 300,000.
It was discussed, but it's not been brought forward to the commission yet. It was just discussed in budget.
It's out of these numbers that we're using.
There's two different 300,000. So there's a $300,000 from the prisoner board reserve account. And then there's a $300,000 that was discussed for TDEC. So those are two different numbers.
This is encumbered. Madam Director, this was new, published 2 hours following our financial management meeting last time, and it is incorporated. But as it stands right now with the numbers, with what they propose right now, we're short about $840,000. So from that, with the list remaining, that means more than likely that there's going to be a project sacrificed if we do this.
Okay, Commissioner Hill.
If we create a priority list and radio communication was number 1 or number 2, wherever it was at, why would we not focus on taking care of those projects in order instead of weighing the projects with a certain amount of money? If this is the number 1 priority for Carter County, it don't matter what it costs, it should be the number 1 and not hit the taxpayer. And with that being said, question on unless you want to let Gary talk, and then I'll.
Well, he has had his hand up. That was what I'm deliberating up here.
guys, we're sitting right here saying that the police, the fire and everything's about 65%. If we don't go forward with this, like Travis said, they'll get something in here and you got another year, then they're without something. I mean, we kick the can down the road again till it just keeps going around in a circle. I mean, if we look at this quote, 2,800,000 is for 4 sites. I think when we first looked at that, it was just 1 or 2 sites. You're actually adding 2 additional sites. So that is giving us better coverage. I mean, when you go to the car lot and you buy a car, you're dependent on that warranty being there and the car you want. Same thing with this radio system. We're going to have to buy it. We got to buy something. Nobody's never going to agree on which way we go with this, but we hired you, and I was involved in that. A specialist to do this. We're taking your word on it, and that's why I second the motion. I think we need to go forward and get this done because the constables need it, sheriff's department needs it, the fire department need it. And if we don't do something, we wait 8, 9, 10 months again, and we start over. I'm done.
All right. Let's call for the vote. Travis Hill, will you please restate the motion for the clerk's office?
This is the end.
Yeah, I think this, are you going to accept the question on the motion?
Question on the motion first.
Okay.
Now, if you want to take a vote, I'll remove the question on the motion.
I think the discussion was over anyway, but yeah.
The only other hand that was up was Gary.
I'll remove my question on the motion.
Okay. All right, now will you please restate for her?
I say we accept this pricing list at the amount stated, unless we need to add the pagers in. We need to add that 48,000, and I add that total to it, come out of ARP funds.
Make sure that the second's good with the adding 48,000.
You're adding in the 48,000. Are you good with adding in
Yes.
$48,000 for
Yes,
payment?
I still second it, yes. Just get it.
Okay. You may not understand what we're voting on. Okay, I call for the vote. Okay, please reveal. Okay, motion passes. Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I would like to invite Mayor Woodby to come forward with her mayoral report. Start, yes. I'm gonna miss some of you guys. I can see it now. Anyways, before we get started, I want to show you this short video that we've made about the Northeast Tennessee Recovery Center. But first of all, I want to go over. We sat down this week with Carter County Schools, TCAT, and Northeast State and decided on the new programs that are going to be housed at the facility. From TCAT, it's going to be a carryover from the welding because they have a huge waiting list. We can do welding, cosmetology, building construction technology, collision repair, diesel-powered equipment technology, and correctional officer program, which we will try to have. We're going to do that program to increase the employment at our jail. So that is going to start with the high schoolers as they're coming out. They're going to implement that there, and our high schoolers will come through there to be a correction officer to help increase the employment at the jail. For Northeast State, it's going to be HVAC, electromechanical, EMT, which is very needed. So that program will also come out of Northeast State. Computer science and business administration office professional technology. We had a great meeting and we decided on these new programs, and these are some of the ones that are going to go in that facility. And there'll be more coming. Of course, they'll have the programs that they currently offer along with these newer programs with Northeast State, Carter County Schools, and TCAT. And now what I want to show you is, first of all, what I just got done telling you is something this commission should be very proud of. This facility that's going to be in Stony Creek is going to be a pilot facility, and you guys made this happen. It's a $40 million investment in the county, and I just want to say thank you for allowing me to go to Nashville and bring it back home, and I couldn't have gotten it done without you. So the commissioners that are staying, this is something to continue to work on. The commissioners that are leaving, this should be one of your proud moments for Carter County. Another proud moment for Carter County is I'm getting ready to show you this video. Of course, you know, I think what we've heard for years is, I'm going to bring jobs. We need jobs. We need jobs. Well, you can't bring jobs if you don't have a workforce. And you can't have a workforce if they can't pass a pre-employment drug screen. Those are two issues that are plaguing Carter County right now and the Northeast Tennessee. So Carter County is coming up in age with these two facilities that are really going to help our workforce and our kids. And I'm very proud of what we've done here. So on the Recovery Center, Families Free submitted a grant, and they already have $10 million from the surrounding counties that have contributed their money for the startup cost of the facility and run it for 10 years. They were approved for a $1.3 million reoccurring grant every year for the facility. And the state of Tennessee also is giving them $1 million on top of the $10 million that they already have. So they have $11 million total right now that we've accrued from every county that has contributed from their opioid funds to get the facility up and moving and to continue the reoccurring costs on it. So with that being said, I'll let you watch this small video that we've put together, how exciting this will be for our community.
We know how to deal with criminals when they commit commit serious crimes. That's what those jail cells are for. And we're fully equipped to do that. The problem that we've been seeing is that you can't incarcerate your way out of addiction because they come out at some point in time and they go right back to their old activity. So the recovery court is the best model that we've seen to address that.
The way that this program will reduce recidivism is it will break the cycle of drug-seeking behavior where you commit a crime in order to get drugs, you commit a crime in order to get drugs. And by breaking that cycle, we improve public safety.
Well, when you have a family that has children and one parent or both parents are addicted to drugs, that's the most important thing to them. And if you can break that cycle, their brain heals, the addiction is less and less and less as time goes by, and they're able to reconnect with their families, they're able to realize that their children and their families are truly the most important thing to them.
And with this type of facility, you change lives. You change one life, it's not just that person. There's a whole village that affects.
Everybody deserves a second chance, there's no doubt. And if we can be
Right, great.
part of getting them back into this community and society, and maybe
It works, yeah.
then that's what we're
Have employment gives you a sense of confidence and helps you to hopefully not reoffend and keep the recidivism low. I think helping individuals get into a job gives them an opportunity to reconnect with their families, gives them an opportunity to reconnect with the children that they may have lost, and they can begin some of the relationships that they lost to the addiction process.
We think this will be something that the state of Tennessee will look at and could result in saving countless lives across the state if it worked here. But we're determined to make it work.
One of the goals and one of the things that will happen with this facility, the Northeast Tennessee Regional Recovery Center, is we'll be meeting folks exactly where they're at. And a lot of these folks will be at the lowest point in their life. I think that's important to know. But it only takes one person making a very good commitment, a good decision to completely turn a family around.
Before I was in recovery court, I didn't get to see my children very much, and I actually lost custody of my youngest daughter, Oakley, through the BCS. Since I've joined recovery court and going into recovery resources house and then working the program, I now get to see Oakley and Gabriella once a week, and I talk to them all the time, Gabriella every day on the phone, and they actually got to meet each other for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and it's a pretty awesome experience. That's the recovery court program, and being able to stay in the recovery resources house, I would even be on my way to penitentiary or be dead by now. So they just saved my life. I'm very good.
She was born August 6, 2018, and my mom's had her since she was 6 months old. Me being at the Story House has given me the opportunity to learn how to be a mom with supportive people around, just people supporting me. I love it. She's shy, but she's funny. She loves to laugh. I asked for recovery court because I knew what they were about, and I knew I could use it, and I needed that help and that support. This last time I was ready. I was ready. I was begging for a way out. I want to build a life for my daughter that I didn't really get. I just want to have a life without drugs and alcohol.
And this facility will be open in March. We will start with 45 residents that will be inside the facility. It'll be males only, and the female facility is in Washington County. It's a house that was purchased there. More so, you want a home-like atmosphere for the mothers so they can have their children there with them. This facility in Roan Mountain will be male only. So it's very exciting for us. It's going to be funded and it's going to be up and moving, and there's been a lot of work done behind the scenes on this with many different mayors, representatives, nonprofits, Frontier Health. So Carter County kind of took the leadway in this, and we're excited about it. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I want to say thank you for what you've done and what you've done to support me in the projects that I've brought in here to you. So I really appreciate everything each one of you have done. And also, we would like to, Commissioner Holder, Chairman Holder, come down. To our commissioners that will be leaving us. You say what you want to say.
Okay.
She's going to speak.
Well, this is the end of the first term for several of us, and it is a large turnover this time. And before we let you go, Mayor Ruby and I just wanted to commend you for the things that you have accomplished and give you a little grateful send-off. So I'm going to name a few things that Abby and I came up with quickly. If we didn't have our other job, we could have come up with a whole much larger list, but if I leave out something that you all want to bring attention to, I invite you to please mention it in just a few minutes. But some of the things that have been done, as Mayor Whitby has already mentioned, the CTE project at the Workforce Development Complex. You have seen that there's been no property tax rate increase over the past 4 years, an entire term. You have provided raises for the employees and bonuses several times. You've renovated the bathrooms at the courthouse to improve the ADA access. The purchase of the new planning office, work being done at Gap Creek Park. 2 kiosks were installed at local businesses to allow citizens to renew their vehicle registration, pay their property taxes, pay court costs after hours when the courthouse is closed. We've hired a communications officer to oversee the much-needed communications project. The broadband grant initiative, we are a finalist for funding on that. Other grant projects that total up to $1.5 million are the 3-star competitive grant, coronavirus emergency supplemental funds, Appalachian Regional Commission grant for CTE equipment, THDA home grant to help qualifying low-income residents with home repairs, Tennessee Risk Management Trust Employee Safety Grant for 2 years in a row, Community Development Block Grant, and there's a pending grant right now for the Highway Department totaling over $500,000. Other things, I only had time to go from September 2018 to September 2019, and this is what I came up with from our minutes for that 1 year. We purchased drones for the Sheriff's Department, upgraded the Roan Mountain Recycling Center, added part-time employees to the landfill and recycling and animal shelter, approved courtroom security with a matching grant, provided funds for the light poles at Hampton High Baseball Field. We funded a roving supervisor for the SRO program, funded the Emergency Operations Center in the 911 building, approved the renovations at the Health Department, replaced many vehicles in almost all of the departments in the county, purchased a new front loader for the landfill and approved a new position of truck driver, new HVAC unit at the jail annex, approved new employees for the finance department, and I ran out of time. I apologize, but that is
1 year.
Yes, for 1 year. That is the accomplishments of this particular commission. So Mayor Whitby and I just want to recognize that. And do you all, before we hand out something that we've got for you, do you all have anything that you want to add? A project that was kind of your baby and we left it out. Yes, Gary Bailey.
Wasn't mine, but I'd like to thank the financial department and management because I think you all refinanced the jail and saved how many millions?
2.4.
So you was done great on that, and I will, that takes a big burden off of me.
Yes, Travis.
Touch base on that, we've done that. We paid off 2 notes early, saving taxpayers probably over $100,000 in interest. We built the fund balance up to close to $12 million now.
Ms. Culler.
We bought and extended the recycle center. I'm very proud of the recycle center we have now.
And that we put some certificates together for the outgoing commissioners, the incoming, the ones that are staying still to put up with us, so.
Yeah.
But for the outgoing commissioners, I just, Chairman Holder and I want to say thank you for everything that you've done and supporting us. So I'm going to kind of hand these out to everybody as we.
Let's just get in circles, you want to thank everybody.
Mark, you write your discussion.
You have to sit here for 4 years. Don't take it out on the.
Charlie.
Let's just all join hands and stuff. Get the cigarette lighters out, you know.
We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
I'll leave it if you want to say. I'll whistle.
You told me I was getting a check.
So much for that.
That's all I got. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate these past 4 years. It's been great. I mean, it's been wonderful.
And the swearing in ceremony for new commissioners and old, right? For everybody is August 31st at noon. You will be sworn in by Judge Bowers. So August 31st at noon. Put that in your calendars and please be here. Outgoing commissioners, if you still have your Chromebook, remember that Ms. Gwynn, the clerk's office, will receive those this evening after the meeting. She has a list, she'll check it off. So if you didn't bring it tonight, please take care of that this week if at all possible. Because we do want to be more electronic in the next term. So we want to get those cleaned and reissued to the next group. One more thing I was supposed to say, wasn't there? Somebody.
You just want to say, let's take a break.
The email about the training, I think everybody in the room that's a new commissioner got that today. So refer to that. If you have any questions, somebody will help you. You can try me, another commissioner, the clerk's office, the finance department. We'll all work together to get your questions answered. Anything else at this time?
Break.
Let's do a break. Let's do a 10-minute break right here. Thank you.
What I was saying, Kevin, I was trying to figure out. Keep that. Pretty sure.
You got 4 years to think about it.
Yes, I've got you on there. I've got you on the list for people to take part.
Well, I mean, he was. Coached him up a lot.
I spoke to you.
He's really smart.
I've been stuck with the dinner.
then we're gonna get. More season he gets.
Minutes.
Look at the housemates. We might have some. You just take the line back because it really
Outside.
Good job for you.
Be my nickname C too. I know her, she's queen of donuts. Everybody's her big friends, you know.
That you never. It's not up to us to hire these people.
How much better communications with the sheriff's office are gonna be then? There might be some more transparency. There's gonna be a lot more. The first tasks, how much is paid out of the line, some salaries to make us. When you make it down to see. I've said a lot. Everybody that came out today.
It's inside.
Mine asked me if the runway, because you know how rumors go. If you heard it from anybody. The moment we put it out there, we don't have any job. They free to vote on making contributing.
Lady Shotgun was on Friday night, man.
See, I feel bad about it because like last.
They don't
I'm not scared by the mayor.
I said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, it's gonna be just.
You know, we can all die
That's all.
and I'm not, you know, I would do it for my own business.
You need to give them Carol because they tried to mail your voucher to you and it came back.
Like Evan said, the doctor said, I hope you at least try a couple rounds to see if it, because I got something that works. Except told me the said it's 24. I was wondering if I was in Hilton last year, they called me about Mama. I looked her up. When I got back, I was like, he's small.
He's in a perfect place. That's exactly who we need to get. Anthony Lawrence.
Just wish I had seen it. I got to go now. And by the time I take my discounts off for both of my new accounts, I'm paying like.
They understand that. It was even in the email that was out.
Same thing I did for Patty there.
I got dreams that I think. How else would I?
Not nothing serious with me.
Just survive.
Good evening. Let's move on. We're on number 14, resolutions. So we need to adjourn our meeting for a public hearing concerning our first resolution, Resolution A, which is to amend a zoning resolution for campground.
Just adjourn the regular meeting, which you just reconvened. Our public hearing.
All right. So we will adjourn the regular meeting at this time and call a public hearing concerning the campground regulations.
I'll give you a brief oversight of what we've done in the Carter County Plan Commission the last few years, looking at the campground resolutions. We added some buffer strips and enhanced buffer strips, which is located on in the definitions. We widened the two-way traffic from 18 feet to 24. And then the biggest thing is in our zones that are allowable, A1, A1A, A1B, B2, and B3. And what we did is did our setbacks from camping spot to the adjacent primary dwelling of the landowners or neighbors. And originally we were set out 200 feet with a buffer. We never really defined in the previous resolution what our buffers would be. What we'd allow with an enhanced buffer, which is a double screening, dropping that down 50 feet. In the A1A, which would have been 200 feet, we dropped it down to 150 feet from the adjacent primary dwelling. With the enhanced buffer strips, we'll drop it down to 100 feet with enhanced buffer strips. A1B is 100 foot, which would right now be under 200 feet. With a buffer, down to 50 foot with an enhanced buffer strip. B2, which is our business districts, which there's several campgrounds there now. We'd drop it down from the 200 to be 150 foot with buffer to the residential dwelling, which was the adjacent primary dwelling, and 75 feet with an enhanced buffer strip with a non-residential property. So if you had a commercial, say a gas station inside a campground, we drop it down to 75 feet. B3, 100 feet with buffer to residential dwelling, and also 50 feet with the enhanced buffer strip to a non-residential. This opens up the properties and gives the owners of properties here in Carter County a little more leeway with what they can do as far as increasing the density and the usefulness of their properties if they go into the campground business. It's been reviewed. We've worked on it for several years, actually, but we really got knee deep into it last this past May. And there was one amendment once we go back into session that Mr. Johnson had brought to my attention, myself and the Planning Commission and the county attorney, we all missed, but it's very minor. So is there any questions, concerns?
Sir, what was the vote coming out of Planning Commission?
I did not bring that with me. I think it was unanimous. It was, my Planning Commission members who said here was unanimous. I apologize for that. Usually I bring my notes with me, but I did not. Any other questions or concerns?
Mr. Schuler.
Sir.
800 square feet per space. And on that, you've got 2 parking spots, a the tent or the unit itself, that leaves very little room for a table, if you allow tables, and it doesn't allow much room for a fire pit. Is 800 square feet, 20 by 40 adequate?
That is for the actual RV itself. It's not for all the additional accommodations that are already placed in the RV park, fire pits, picnic tables, things of that nature.
Normally speaking, if you're talking about 20 by 40, and that's 800 square feet, do you use the 20 foot in depth or the 40 foot in depth, or based on parking?
Well, you're usually around, your depth is more so in concern. Usually have your RV itself, your camper, and those are either tag along or gooseneck or fifth wheels. And sometimes they can be as big as 43 footers, you know. And then your width is your two parking spots, which is 18 feet, which the general parking area is. So you're 18 feet wide with your depth overextended through that.
If you are talking about a fifth wheeler as one of the parking spots, and you're talking about a table and a fire pit, that still sounds like awfully small. 800 square feet sounds like 1,000 would be better.
Well, like I was saying, the accommodations of the park is usually your fire pit, picnic table, things of that nature. This is actually the parking of the RV, its transporter, or an additional vehicle, or a visitor. That's what that covers. Everything else is covered in the layout of the actual park, when you get your spacing and your buffer between.
The reason I'm asking this question is I laid out a campground for a person one time, and I ran into, by the time you have the roadways and all, the other thing is 2 acres as a minimum. That alone is, well, do the numbers. 800 square feet into 4,300 square feet per acre, 86,000 square feet. That is a awfully small campground to start with.
That's a minimum.
But you've done the numbers, and we'll go with whatever you think, because you've been there for years, and all we've done is laid out one.
Right. And the reason we went with the minimum of 2 acres is the majority of the soils in Carter County, you can get about 10 to 20 campers on a subsurface sewage system with a 2 acre lot. That's exceptional ground. So that's why we came up with the 2 acre minimum.
And that's pretty well national standard?
It's pretty close to national standards, yes, sir.
Okay, no more questions.
Any further questions, concerns? Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Just make sure nobody.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We do
Let
it.
me look over.
Any member of the public wish to speak on the campground regulations?
No, Madam Chairman.
So we will call an end to the public hearing and reconvene our regular commission meeting. So we are seeking a motion to approve this resolution A as written.
Yes, motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sandra Culler, second by Dr. Bob Acutt. Any other discussion by commissioners? Yes, Mr. Johnson.
I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to this resolution. And it's in reference to on the second page. Under the definitions, number 1 is campgrounds. And it reads a plot of ground containing 2 acres upon which 2 or more campsites In my amendment, I'm asking that it read a plot of ground containing not less than 2 acres. And then secondly, on the same page, 2/3 of the way down, under the heading of use requirements by district under campgrounds, about the 5th sentence down there, same thing, where it's defined as any plot of ground containing 2 pieces of acreage, 2 acres, which I'd say not less than 2 acres. And then on the next sheet over, under 1.2, number A, the tract of land designated to be used as a campground shall consist of a minimum lot of an area of 2 acres. Should be no less than 2 acres.
Well, since that one says minimum, I think it's not necessary there, am I right?
Okay, to match your definition,
I didn't find the last one you were talking about.
on the second page, I guess it'd be page 3 totally. It'd be paragraph 1.2.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the same thing, but if you wanted it to be exact as the other 2 references, I would.
So I was trying to match the definition with the description on both of them to where they couldn't be used one against the other. And that is, I asked for that amendment.
Okay, Commissioner Color,
Second amendment.
Commissioner Acuff.
Yes.
All right, so both have accepted your amendment. Commissioner Johnson.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I got it wrote down.
Okay, any other commissioner have a comment? Okay, let's vote on resolution A.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Commissioner Beal. Motion passes. Moving on to resolution B. I would either like for Attorney Hardin or Finance Director Watson to maybe explain why we're voting on this one again for anybody that might not have heard.
Well, I'm happy to. The budget, this is the budget appropriation resolution appropriating the funds to all the various offices. And after the vote, well, when you all made the decisions during the regular meeting last month to take money from the highway department based on their volunteering to do so, and the school board fund, I think it's their general purpose fund, it changed various numbers throughout this resolution. And for that reason, we're re-voting on it to approve it since it's been amended. And I'll let her explain anything else as far as the specific numbers.
Yeah, I spoke to the comptroller's office, and this is something that we need to do since the original resolution was voted on, but it was before those changes were made. So they said, therefore, it needs to be voted on again by the commission. We've already submitted the budget to the state, but they can't fully approve it until this is done.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Color, second by Mark Tester. Any other discussion? All right, let's vote. All right, please reveal. Motion passes. Resolution C. Again, it's something we voted last month that needs to be changed for the same reasons we stated, to fix the tax levy.
Yeah, basically it changes the fractional pennies that were allocated to each fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve by Travis Hill, second by Sonia Kohler. Any discussion needed? All right, we're voting. Motion passes. So I am assuming that Ms. Julie Jones will come forward to review the budget committee items.
stand here.
Okay, before I do this, I just want to let y'all know, Aaron Frazier sends his deepest regards to all of you guys that are leaving and his sincerest respect for you. He did not miss, just saying he had a family emergency. So he wanted to convey that to you guys. Okay, coming out of Budget Committee, need to make a formal motion to appropriate $20,000 to the Hampton Volunteer Fire Department to assist with construction costs for a new building. Funding to come from unassigned fund balance 101, use $39,000.
Motion to approve.
The motion is approved by Gary Bailey. Isaiah Grindstaff for the second. Discussion? Yes, Commissioner Acuff.
Madam Chair, not that I am against our volunteer fire department in Hampton, but I think we've been very equitable in dealing with volunteer fire departments. Does this mean the other six will consider an additional $120,000, $20,000 going to each of them? The other problem, Madam Chair, that I have is we've already set a budget and now we're going to take more money out of our unassigned fund balance. I don't mind folks coming forward and asking for help. I think they should have done it as part of the regular budget cycle.
That was some questions that was addressed to in budget. And apparently due to costs involved with concrete and various other building supplies, they ran a little short. So that's what we were told.
Commissioner Bailey.
Guys, I'd like to go over that. When we appropriated this for them, it first started, they come forward with us with a drawing that they didn't own the land. They had to purchase the land and try to build a building. And plus, they are built two right in the middle of this mess when interest rates have been sky high. I would like to inform everybody and keep them in mind that the way the district lines goes, it covers into not just Hampton's district, but it's going into the 4th, it's going into Cloudlands, it's going into Miss Kohler's district, all the way down to the water treatment plant right there. When you run 800 calls and diesel's $5 and something, $6 a gallon, how do you expect somebody to try to manage and keep that going? I'm all for being fair, but sometimes fair is not equal, because here's what's going on. We've asked them and they came forward with us. And we told them we'd help them to try to get a fire department going. Winter's coming on. We're trying to finish the sheetrock, the electrical, and get it painted to get the trucks inside. So, for $20,000 at the money we spend, I don't think that's really asking a lot. I do agree that if they are given this, they are going to basically have to pinch it to try to finish this on out. We can't keep bailing everybody out, but I think we are here to help with stuff that is important, priority stuff, not stuff that just continually, you just keep throwing money at it. It's something that this will benefit the incoming commission, because they should have new buildings. It's getting trucks. Up to date, there was a question about, did they buy a truck? I think they have, but they sold one of the other ones they had to put the money back into it, trying to finish this. But when you talk concrete, $180 a yard, nobody foreseen those costs when this came forward. So I'd like them to keep that in mind. It's, they are running into about 5 different districts where some of the other ones are just in their own. And we do have some of them here. Maybe you can ask them, but I'm going to support these volunteer people because that's all they've got to go with.
Julie, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. I want to preface it by saying that I serve on one of the volunteer fire department groups of people. I'm so grateful that we have them. I don't know what we would do without them. They help keep our insurance rates down. I'm grateful. But But I want to ask Fire Chief Isaacs, if I may, since he is here, did you agree that you would come with monetary requests through the association at an association meeting just a few months ago?
Yeah.
Okay, and the other question I have is, how much debt is your particular fire department in today?
We owe 10 years on one truck, 8 years on the other truck. The total payments on those are $20,000 a year. Can you give you the money on how much we owe on those? When it was purchased, $210 for one and $180 for the other truck. And that was 10 and 12 years ago. Other than that, we owe on Assembly Creek Station of $50,000 and the Valley Forge Station of, I think, $55,000. So that is our total debt.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Madam Chair, a question for the county attorney. I don't know how our districts are determined, but in lieu of Commissioner Bailey's comment of how broad the Hampton Volunteer Fire Department's district is there any way to make them more equitable? Can we do something to look at the districts and how they are divided up and make the burden less on them?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, they're not county departments. I mean, they're their own separate entities. So I don't know that we have control over their districts, and I have no idea how they were originally set up. So I can't really intelligently answer that. I wouldn't think that we would necessarily have any final authority to determine that. Now, they may certainly, as an acceptance of our funding, they may agree to do that. I'm just not sure the mechanism how to make that happen.
Commissioner Kohler.
Well, I'd just like to point out that West Carter County is also in my district, not just Hampton. We're served by both, and I think, generally speaking, if you keep up with this, when there's a fire, just about every volunteer department in the county tries to help out in some way, no matter where it is.
Anybody else?
Question for Mr. Bailey. You say they sold the truck, is that what you said?
I think they had sold one.
We found a pumper truck in North Carolina, right outside of Hot Springs for $18,000. Most of y'all vehicles drunk every time probably cost more than that. It was a deal. We bought it. We turned around and sold our existing truck to Limestone Cove in Unicoi for $20,000. So we made a $2,000 profit on that, which is going toward this. So we got a 2-year newer truck, a better truck that's going to serve our community, and $2,000 back into our budget. So yes, we did buy, but we did sell immediately. They picked it up last night at 7 o'clock. And they are so proud to have that truck.
20,000 you're asking for, has nothing to do.
No, it's just for the bills for them trying to finish, because winter's coming on.
That was just to clarify that, yes, we did buy a truck, but we sold the truck immediately to cover the cost of that truck, plus we got the money out.
Anybody else? Yes.
Just clarifying in the budget and the financing, and I want to mirror Dr. Acuff. We have 6 fire districts in this county. Now, you can argue all you want. Now, let's go to the ARP funds. Look what we have designated per fire district in this county, not commissioner districts, fire districts, okay? And as I have repeated even in the budget meeting and everything, you have to be fire to every one of them. And if you don't believe it, look what took place. The first one was one of our fire departments says, we're going into a building, we will accept the 150. We'll handle anything past that 150 for this project, which was large. And then when the ARP was started separating, it was equal through the other 6. Them not receiving an extra, their 150 went toward the building. And now when we've had this request, and I would, I'd hate to deny it, but just as soon as you grant them the 20, they're like junior high girls. There's more drama goes in that than anything you ever seen in your life. So you might as well plan for the other 5, come ask for an equal 20,000. And I think it's a matter of planning and managing than anything.
All right, Charlie Von Cannon.
I don't disagree with your statement. However, anytime you can get volunteer labor, it doesn't matter where it comes from, as long as it's legitimate. If it's in the constables, use it. If it's in the volunteer department, the fire departments use it, because that's the best thing you can do other than infrastructure, as far as bridges and whatever. I say that even though we know the others are going to ask for it, we go ahead and do this.
Mike Miller.
You know, that fire department there at Tigerville, you know, that's a Roe Mountain Hampton thing. Buses do both haulers for both Tiger Valley and Simmerley Creek for Roe Mountain and Hampton. So that's really a Roe Mountain Hampton fire department sitting up there, and they do a lot of runs for those places on the lower end of Roe Mountain.
Okay, I think we probably need to end right there and vote, please. Voting for $20,000 to the Hampton Volunteer Fire.
You turn on. Don't look at me when you still there.
And the motion passes.
Feel good.
Can I say something real quick? Guys, you're gonna have to make this work. You just can't come back and keep asking.
Mr. Isaacs.
I promise you won't see me again. I'm from the place that you earn what you want. We were beat down. COVID, me and this boy right here, because he lives out in the far off. I swear, we did CPR 3 nights a week for almost a year. We built one station complete, we're working on the second one, we are wore out, and you don't know how much we appreciate this. This is, we gotta get them trucks in for the winter. If it wasn't for the winter, I wouldn't care if I got sick. I gotta be able to insulate and heat. But we, from big parts of our heart, we appreciate it. We'll make that money, y'all proud of our station as you drive by. We'll say we.
Thank you, Mr. Isaacs. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you to the gentlemen that are with you tonight. Yes, Mr. James.
I'd just like to say one thing. Just any future requests, since y'all have agreed to come to the association, if you could send them that way first before they do come to us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. For a motion to appropriate $103,800 to fund the office operations and equipment purchases as proposed for the communications officer department budget. Funding to come from unassigned fund balance 101 Q39000.
Second.
So it's in the form of the motion from Steve Quinn, second by Isaiah Grindstaff. Any discussion on this one? Yes, Ms.
I don't
Collins.
understand this at all. I don't know enough about the communications to really give, or even really ask some really good questions. But I don't understand how we're going to need $103,000 more for office equipment. And I need this explained to me a little bit clearer. And I saw the list, which meant nothing to me really, but I need this explained a little bit clearer before I spend another $103,000 of taxpayers' money. And I don't mean to be rude, I just mean, I don't know enough that I need this explained a little bit clearer. And from what the calls I've gotten in the last two days that this, there's a whole lot of other people that don't understand as well.
Okay, I understand that. In the county, you have no communications department whatsoever at all. Basically, I'm it. I have no tools. If I have no tools, it's done. So part of this is hand tools, part of this is electronic tools, and a big part of it is the electronic test equipment that I need to test the radios as we move forward.
And we're not paying a company to do that? Is that
Yes,
not
you can, but
included?
it'll cost you a lot more than that because it'll be an ongoing expense. This is a one-time expense for the largest pieces of test equipment.
Excuse me, I noticed you, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, I'm still on the.
I noticed you said it was for the tools and et cetera. I run jobs for years, $1 million projects for a company here in Elizabeth. If we had a welder to come out, he brought his welding stanger, his hub, his arm grinder, his weld bucket. We didn't pay him. Well, this is your profession. Why don't you have the tools to do your profession?
I don't carry around $90,000 worth of test equipment. That's something that all of my employers have always provided for me to do my job.
Madam Chair, I think I can kind of touch on that. Mark, what you're probably dealing with is contractors. You're hiring those people to come. He is a government employee for the county. The same as the sheriff's department. They don't provide their own guns. We provide their guns for them.
Front row, are both of you all finished for right now at least? Okay, I'm gonna call on Mark Tester, who's had his hand up.
I do have a question. I think most of our departments have communication money to repair and fix and everything on the radio system. Could you not take a portion of that from each department and cover this, since he's gonna be doing that job? So I understand, is that, you're gonna be fixing everybody's radio, right? So if you take a portion out of each one of them's budget, then you've got this covered, and you don't have to take it out of unassigned fund balance.
He can bill the other departments, but because the budget has already been approved, that money can't be taken back from those office holders. So he could prepare an invoice or prepare a billing quarterly to all of the departments that he's working with and bill them, and we would do transfer in and out. But we can't just take that money back. Also, some departments have other things in that line item, not just for radio repairs. And so we couldn't take the whole amount.
Okay, Isaiah Grindstaff.
I kind of wish Mike was here, but I can't really speak for the new administration coming in. But I can tell you under the current administration and previous administrations that I've been involved in, we would send, we were lucky to have Captain Tom Smith, who had some radio background. I have a little bit of radio background, and we were able to troubleshoot. We would troubleshoot as far as we could in the tools that we had, which wasn't a lot. We could replace some ends on some cables because, like it or not, cables sometimes break. And then once it got to the point that we couldn't do anything, we couldn't make any software changes or anything, replace an antenna to alleviate, we would have to send that off to High Country or Tri-Seas Communications, or we had a contractor that would sometimes come in. But those are those costs that, like she was stating, that are in a line that contains multiple other items that come out of that line. The goal was initially, when we was looking at a communications officer, was that we, especially now that Captain Tom Smith is no longer there, instead of our department looking to buy some of this equipment and have to keep antennas and have to keep ends and have to keep cable and have to keep all this other tools, and then, maybe eventually Roger's department, maybe eventually the schools, that some of those monies from the county side could be filtered to a communications budget, and that he could take on that troubleshooting piece. Now, there's going to be a cost analysis that he's going to end up having to do. I've messed with this for a week and it's not getting any better, it's not getting any worse, I need to send it off, and you're still going to have those contracted costs. But this would, I can tell you that we've sent, 3 or 4 vehicles asked you to look at, and I can't have him replace a cable if he don't have anything to build a cable. I can't have him hook up to a meter if he don't have a meter. And so we turn around and send those off to High Country or Tri-Cities or somewhere of that nature. So, in order to do your job, you have to have the tools. We hired him, now we got to give him the tools to be able to do the job, with the end goal being we all get new radios, we get a new radio system, we're not gonna have to cover that maintenance cost on those towers, we're not gonna have to cover that system infrastructure cost. That means that the cost is now gonna be pushed down to, time spent on programming, be a function of his office, plus those individual small repairs that we are hoping that he can do for us and whatever other department, landfill, whoever else that may need it. These are county radios. And you don't have to buy all these tools, and you're not paying 15 different contractors, and everything kind of filters through Mark to make a determination of, yeah, we need to send it off, or no, it's easy. This cable's crimped. I just need a new cable, connect, we're good to go. So I'm fairly supportive of Mark in this. You know, if we hired him, you don't need him to do his job. No, that won't happen. So, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Isaiah. I just want to clarify, Carolyn, if I may go back to Commissioner Tester's question. So are you saying that we are set up to do it that way this coming year?
We can't do that.
You can do that.
We haven't done anything yet because we're just initially in this, but we just can't take those funds back from those office holders. But if we do have cost savings by having it done in-house, which I would assume you would because you're not paying labor at the same rate that you would if you're using an outside vendor, we also should have money left in those line items at the end of the year as well that could be used for other things related to the radio project, if needed, with, as long as the office holder agreed to it, because it is the office holder's money at this point, because we've already approved the budget that way.
Okay, it would be.
The problem we may have with that, Carolyn, is the office holder may not agree to that, to be being billed. That may be a concern.
Yeah, that I know.
Josh is.
Yeah, the simplest thing to do, in my opinion, is, I mean, obviously they can't spend it on anything else that doesn't fit in that line item, and they can't move it unless you all approve it. So if it's unspent, it rolls back into
The
general
county
fund
as well,
at the
yeah.
end of the year. I mean,
That's
so you have to buy this equipment up front, so it has to
By
be.
the end of the year, when we redo the next FY, you can
You
actually
should be
absorb the money.
correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Madam Chair, one point of clarification here. This is a one-time cost to get what you need. And then going forward, Caroline, as you said, those items to use his services would be charged back to departments.
They can be.
But I'm trying to figure out a way we recoup this. I don't want to see, when I'm sitting here on the next commission, year after year after year, $103,800.
Yeah, that would be a question for Mark, more so than me, because he knows what he needs. And he gave a list of that equipment to Budget Committee. So there was a list of the actual equipment with the quotes on what those equipment items would be.
You don't have to replace that equipment every year, are you?
There's $80,000 worth of test equipment that I need to purchase. It's a one-time purchase. The only recurring cost with those equipment is going to be calibration costs, and it's about $1,000 a year. So that $80,000 will come off there, and then that budget will drop drastically on
Commissioner Johnson.
Chairwoman, thank you. I just want to clarify some things with the rest of the commissioners. Again, we're accustomed to dealing with contractors, bidding out, them taking care of us, and that's just an oversight. But in several of the meetings involving our communication officer and everything, he has made it clear to us that he will be doing this. There'll be no contracting out. So that makes a difference. He has to have tools to work with if he's going to do that. I myself cannot see it, but if he wants to go to work, we can buy the tools, but there's no contractor involved, what he says, no bidding out. So that means we're going to be doing $4.7 million worth of communication with one person. And that's how many vehicles in the sheriff's department?
A lot.
A lot. How many fire department, how many fire trucks and how many rescue squad buildings?
I don't keep track of all those.
That's a small price to pay to do all that.
Okay, Commissioner Von Cannon.
Come on, people. Let's get real. We hire a man and we don't give him the tools to do the job. Good Lord.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad you beat me.
Leave that up to Charlie. I'm listening.
Charlie? Hey, you got a vote. Hey, after your speech, you got a vote.
You're hanging over here. I'm gonna go.
All right, show us the vote. Motion passes. Look at that.
For 20 minutes, everybody unanimously.
All right, let's move on to something a little easier. Formal motion on number 3, formal motion to appropriate $1,500 for part-time personnel for the mayor's office due to staff member transfer. The appropriation line is 101E 51300 part-time personnel funding to come from the unassigned fund balance.
Motion to approve.
Okay. So we'll do a motion by Mark Blevins and second by Mike Miller. Any discussion needed?
Everybody know who this is? She is leaving us not very far. And she has done an amazing job in the mayor's office and with her grant
I
writing.
agree. I think it's a hand.
All right, any discussion needed? All right, let's vote.
Everybody's gonna be there.
Motion passes.
Okay, number 4, formal motion to appropriate $54,000 from county fund unassigned fund balance for highway department 131R40110 property tax to meet minimum required for 5-year average MOE. It's of effort.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Does everybody understand this, what this was?
Your average.
Yeah, if you don't vote for it, you're gonna lose 54,000 right behind it. State's gonna-
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Any questions on this one? All right, let's vote on this one.
Second.
Ms. Von Cannon. All right, we have a vote. Motion passes, and just remember that when Julie's up here representing Budget Committee, she is making a motion, so we just need a second, is all we need going forward. Thank you, Ms. Julie.
Sorry, I'm learning as go, guys.
It's all good.
Okay, number 5, formal motion to approve County Fund 101 Budget Amendment 101-1, items 1-4, in the amount of $18,486.75, with $3,551.56 coming from the unassigned fund balance, and $14,655.11 coming from restricted fund 101Q 3451001.
Second.
Jerry Prophet on the second. Any question?
Mark.
Okay, let's vote. That motion passes.
Okay, number 6, formal motion to approve School Federal Projects Fund number 142, Budget Amendment 142-2, item 1 through 4, in the amount of $3,715,692.93, with nothing coming from this fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second by Kelly Collins. Questions? Discussion? All right, we're voting.
It's federal money. Quit it.
Motion passes. Okay, number 7, formal motion to approve monetary donations to the animal shelter in the amount of $2,114.
Second by Nancy Brown. Let's vote.
Thought I hit the button.
That's really good. All right, motion passes.
Okay, I think that's it for budget. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Gwynn. Okay, Highway Committee Chair, Mark Blevins.
Adopt a road on Riverwood Circle, already paved. Roger has looked at it. We waived the public hearing on it. Motion to approve Riverwood Circle as a county road, subject to a 40-foot right of way from the developer to the Carter County Road.
Second.
Hester. Any questions? There is a parcel map in your packet if y'all haven't seen it. You can see how many houses are on that road. Any questions? Tom Cannon.
Is this a change in the 40-foot right of way, or is it 30-foot paved and 5 on each side?
Roger.
40-foot right of way and maybe about 24.
And how much is paved?
44.
So you got, okay, yeah, you've got a.
All right, let's vote. Ready on the vote. Motion passes.
I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure working with all of you. And I'll still be in the seat in summer.
All right, landfill committee chair, Barry Bailey.
In front of you all, you have the recommended rates that we've asked to change, raise the rates at the landfill. A month ago, we did raise the rate per tonnage. This is actually the bag trash and all the individual stuff like the dumpsters that ran out and all of that. Like to put in the motion that we accept the rates as is, to go in effect on October the 1st.
Second. Second by Sergeant Culler. Any discussion, questions? Yes, Isaiah.
October 1st.
It gives time to get it out to the public and know and where and when, and
Why not January 1st? Gives you 6 months, 5 months.
we just voted on it to start the 1st. So we've got to get the rates up. We know there's money, so I mean, we could have went this coming month, but we done it in time to.
The only reason I asked, because the last time that we did this, I had several individuals come up to me and, a lot of these, and to be quite honest, it's a lot of these individuals that go and pick up trash and bring them in and things, and they do payment plans in advance. So you've already got people on their aspect. They have already promised this person that their rate is X, Y, Z. You already know that this is how much money it's going to cost, and now you're going to increase.
This is not the tonnage. We've got these people, this is the individual people that's rising up.
Still cheaper than there.
This is individual bag trash and stuff that they haul in each day. This is not your contractors.
And the dumpster rent.
Right. Dumpsters, stuff like that, it's rented where they rent the dumpsters like demolishing houses and stuff like that. So we already set the rates for the tonnage of going to them bringing in by the ton. We done that last month.
And that do not accept items, that's for Roan Mountain only.
Right. And if you just look over here where it says do not accept, that's at the substations. So that's not at the actual landfill.
Commissioner Bailey, what is the story about the city closing their recycling drop-off points?
You're talking about like down here on
The Mill Street one and the one out at the softball field at Lions Field on the four-way. What's the story about them closing it?
My understanding is that they're throwing couches, chairs, diapers, needles and all that stuff, and our people's having to ship through it. So they've come to agreement until they can get it watched to basically just keep it closed. Now, me personally, I think we do need to look at opening it
We
back
have the
up.
same problem.
You're right.
I stopped an elderly gentleman the other day. He was putting household garbage in a container of cardboard. And I said, "Mister, do you realize what you're doing?" He said, "Yeah, I'm putting my household garbage in this." I said, "That's not the point. The point is you're contaminating that whole business of one bin of cardboard." I said, "The cardboard people, the recycling people don't have time and labor to take each soup can out of the contamination. And that's costing this county a bunch of money because cardboard is doing well, as you know." So what's the answer? This gentleman was a veteran, and I asked him, I said, "I'm sorry that I'm having to talk to you." And he said, "Well, you don't have to." I said, "Well," I said, "I'm right." Anything to them when they're screwing up.
The answer, Charlie, would be to put up cameras and then to prosecute the people who are doing the wrong thing at those sites.
You prosecute them and the next day they burn your barn down.
And then sure have a barn, thank God.
Where do we go from there?
Guys, we can debate this all day long. It's closed.
Order.
HR. It's closed for right now, so it's.
Yeah, that was a mutual decision. That's from city and county both.
My understanding for right now, that was.
I'd asked Benny the same question, that's what he said, and there is discussion, I think, on cameras, right?
Yes.
That's supposed to be brought up.
Here's the problem we got with prosecution, okay? If we put the cameras up and they're in the city, they want us to be the one to prosecute it. So that means we've got to pay for the attorney to send them. What you gain to what you lose is not beneficial. So that's why they decided to shut it down right now.
Any other questions on the rates? Okay, let's vote.
I would like to say one thing. This was late getting to you all, but for unforeseen circumstances, we had to back up.
Is there any other committee that needs to give a report at this time?
Madam Chairman, I believe Budget missed the nomination committee. They had.
I thought that was on there, but it wasn't on my paper.
Yeah, I mean, it should have come with.
The nominees for the commission, planning commission. Mr. Mark Blevins was nominated for first district for Arp County Regional Planning Commission. Mr. Stephen Keith Carr was nominated on the fourth. Ms. Cullors coming off the county commission and staying on as a civilian on the Carter County Regional Planning Commission. And then Mr. Steve Kyler for the 8th district.
That's all the ones that we approved the other night.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you, talk with Mr. Burrow?
Mr. Burrow will maintain his seat as a civilian because he was elected afterwards after being appointed by this board to the Regional Planning Commission.
It was just for the next 2 years, right?
Yeah,
I'll have to double check it, something like that, 2 more.
All right. How do we do this, Ginger?
I mean, we can make a motion to accept as presented. I mean, really.
I think Ross is the last year.
Okay, so I don't know.
Ooh.
Might want last time.
Where's Frazier at?
Schiller, will you please repeat those so that we can get it in the motion up on the screen?
Yes, ma'am. First commission district for the Carter County Regional Planning Commission will be Mr. Mark Blevins. The fourth district will be Mr. Keith Carr. The seventh district will be Ms. Sandra Culler. The eighth district will be Mr. Steve Kaler. Eighth, yes, ma'am.
All right,
Thank you, ma'am.
all right, so Ross, did you say you're gonna make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept those as presented.
Okay. Is there a second on that? Second, Austin James. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Already.
Show us the vote. Motion passes. With one
Thank you, ladies and
abstention
gentlemen.
because of, for cause. Okay. Any other committees that have reports?
As usual, there'll be a written report in the minutes, and I'll answer any questions y'all have. As far as litigation goes, there's a case coming up here in a few weeks involving a county road that I'll be representing in Chancery Court. And then there's obviously the ongoing litter cases. There was 2 this past month that were resolved where compliance was obtained in both cases. Other than that, like I said, the normal work is going on the report, and I'll answer anybody's questions here or later or anytime you have one.
Thank you, Attorney. All right, Commissioner comments. Yes, Ms. Julie Glenn.
I have one. I know that we agreed some months back to have all the material in within 7 days of the meeting. Right? That has kind of gotten really slacks, and forgive me for just bringing this up. I don't like voting on things that I don't have time to go over really well. And a few things has come up in budget that's slapped on our plate, and we haven't had time to really go over them. And I would just like to encourage everybody, please try to get things in that 7-day time frame so we can look at it. Some things it's not a great big deal, but some things you really need to do some research on. So I'm asking for me because I need that time. I know things come in late, but there's some things that we can actually hold off on so that everybody has a chance to really look at it, so.
Chris Little wanted me to let everybody know that they're gonna have the ramp dedication on September the 9th at 12 noon for all commissioners who've been involved with that process.
Okay, and Randall Jenkins asked me to just express his gratitude and commend the work that the commission has done in serving with him this past 4 years. And he's very sorry he couldn't be here tonight, but Randall sends his good wishes. Yes, Ms. Kohler.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, by Julie Glenn. All in favor, say aye. Good night. Thank you.